Evening, Amra. Saida, would you mind unmuting Bryant, please?
You should see something to confirm my muting on your computer screen. There you go.
Evening, Bryant. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Paul, how are you?
Good, thanks. We'll just give it a couple of minutes, see what turns up, and then we'll get going.
Okay.
I'm going to give it till 6:32, just give it one more minute, because people have turned up here on time, so I don't want to keep people waiting. Why don't we get going, Bryant? Welcome, everyone. My name is Paul Crickler. Welcome to the Roosevelt Island Committee meeting for CB8. We have one item on the agenda today. I'm very happy that we have Brian Daniels here, who works in communications at REOC. Bryant has agreed to give us a little update on things that we should hear about from REOC, but also to be available for questions. So I'm going to hand it straight over to you, Bryant, to get the update. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks. Thank you, Paul, for having me. Brian Daniels, again, Communications Director for the Roosevelt Island Operating Corporation. I appreciate the opportunity to come and chat a little bit about some of the things we have going on within REOC, some of the activities that we have coming up. And so just want to thank everybody for joining us. If you happen to hear a squealing one-year-old in the background, she is just playing on the mat before bedtime. So just alerting you in case anything loud ends up happening. So I just wanted to quickly give you guys a couple updates on some things that we have going on. I'll start with some upcoming events. Well, let's go back to last weekend for the Far Arts Festival, which was, I think, a really nice success. I just want to thank, on behalf of the corporation, all of the artists who participated. The work that's out on Meditation Lawn right now, I think, is pretty incredible. It speaks for itself. And it's a nice reminder of kind of what makes this community so unique is this embrace of the arts, doing things that are, you know, a little outside the box. I mean, you just don't see this type of event in other communities. And it really turned out well. And, you know, we'll be hanging the artwork will remain on Meditation Lawn, I think up until around Thanksgiving, at which time we will then move it into Motorgate for display for the following year. And what's nice about this year is we set it up so that previously the artist would sign the work over to us, and we would own it. But this time we have allowed the artist to reclaim their work after the full year, if they'd like. I know they're, super proud of the work they're doing, and so giving the artist the ability to reclaim that work and then reuse it for themselves, I think, is a pretty important thing. It was a nice distinction for this year's event. So just wanted to thank everybody who came out, and thank everybody who participated, especially Riva Art Gallery. Tremendous contributions. We really couldn't do it without their expertise, and they did a phenomenal job for us. So just wanted to make sure we mentioned them as well. This coming Saturday, we have a special Diwali event. I believe it's the first time we're co-sponsoring an event like this on the island. It's going to take place at Good Shepherd Plaza from 5 to 9 p.m. Hopefully the weather is going to cooperate. We've had a terrible time this year with weather in hosting events, but it looks like the rain may only be in the morning, so the evening event would be really nice, and we hope everybody can come out for that. And then the following week is the big Halloween extravaganza and parade that RIAC is hosting. We'll be stepping off the parade from Cabo Bianco Field at 10:45 a.m. And then we will be marching down to South Point Park, where we're going to have a wide array of wonderful amusements, food, pumpkin decorating, stuff for the whole family. It's going to be a really wonderful event, and this will be my first one. So I've heard they've been really strong in the past, and so we're certainly looking forward to it. And then our next PSD, we had our previous PSD community engagement meeting this past Tuesday. So we do those every month. I just wanted to announce that the next one is scheduled for November 17th. If anybody can make it out, we talk about all matters of related to public safety on the island. It's a nice opportunity to ask Chief Brown and Deputy Chief Amoroso some of the questions that you might have, and we go over just the statistics for the month and where things stand. So the next one of those will be on the 17th, and then our next board meeting will be next week, actually, on October 26th. So I just wanted to make mention of that as well. I know we have some board members here, so that will be our next meeting for that. The second thing I want to just update folks on is about the Youth Center program registration dates. We're really proud of the Roosevelt Island Youth Center and some of the outstanding work that they're doing for the community and for families. We have recently started this teen night program that has been a nice success for some of the older attendees of the facility. And then we also have our regular after school programming that has now started up again since the school year started. So they provide a perfect opportunity for, children to embark on journeys of growth and camaraderie, and it's a lot of fun. And registration is still open for both of those programs. So if you go to our website, reoc.ny.gov, click on the community tab and then go to the Youth Center page, you can sign up there. So just wanted to make folks aware of that as well. Transportation updates. Obviously, this is still top of mind for everybody in the community. We are continuing to run our red shuttle buses in the mornings during the ongoing MPA track work project. We have our morning Queens shuttle running from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., taking folks to Queens Plaza. And then we are also still running our Manhattan shuttles on weekends from 3 to 7 p.m. to help alleviate some of the travel difficulties that have arisen as the ongoing track work project continues. I think, people are starting to sort of get into a more regular cadence with travel and sort of understanding, the difficulties that are happening and how to navigate them. So we are pleased to see that tram operations have remained steady. We have talked about, we've seen some reports about swaying issues on the tram, which we've discussed with Palma, who have assured us that there is no larger safety issue associated with it. The explanation is during regular tram operations, we can periodically get stops that might occur when the tram's safety systems are sort of triggered for whatever reason. They tend to be short in time span, and what ends up happening is, I just want to check my notes to make sure I'm getting this correctly. What happens is a trigger can happen, a stop may occur, the tram cabin may sway a bit, but it's a controlled and safe reaction that's inherent to the tram system design. And it's not indicative of an unsafe situation. It just means that what ends up happening is an actual person then has to just go in and check the system, make sure everything's looking good, and then verify and engage with the system and make sure it's running fine after that. So that's what we've seen. They seem to be periodic. They don't seem to last particularly long. But it's something that, we're going to continue to monitor. But, on this call, we wanted to just sort of allay some of the fears that, there might be some type of, larger safety issue. And we're told by the operators that that's really not the case. So the other thing I just wanted to touch on was constituent services. Our constituent service department is a new function of the corporation that we launched several months ago. It's been really nice to be able to offer Roosevelt Island residents the chance to meet with us, come to discuss whatever type of operational concerns there might be. We're still doing Mondays and Wednesdays by appointment, and you can schedule an appointment online through the REOC website under the constituent service tab in the community section. You can also email info@reoc.ny.gov. And you can also come to our drop-in hours at the Roosevelt Island Senior Center, which is every Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We take all the suggestions, all the complaints that we hear. We try to respond within a week, at least with some update on where things stand. Obviously, some projects have a little bit of a longer tail than others, but ultimately, the goal of the department is to be as responsive as possible and to hear and to take the feedback and sort of, make the operational adjustments where we can to make things easier for island residents. So those are the 4 big points I wanted to chat about. And I just want to thank everybody again for their time. And I think we kept the background chirping to a minimum. So that's good.
Thank you very much, Bryant. So the way I'd like to do this now is I'd like to invite members of the public who are not CB8 board members to ask questions if they want to. To do that, if you can use the raise your hand, and then Saida will unmute you. So if you do speak, we're going to keep it to a 2-minute max, but I'm sure people won't want to take that long anyway. And if Bryant has any answers for you, I'm sure I'd be happy to give them. Anybody want to ask any questions from the public?
Okay, Stephen.
Oh yeah, thank you, Stephen.
Unmute.
Stephen, then Jane.
Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Burke. This is my first time coming to one of these meetings. So the question I have might have already been asked amongst the group. Just wanted to hear thoughts on street parking situation. Has anyone had any kind of discussions about this in terms of how to handle that? It seems to have gotten a lot worse, possibly because there's a lot more people on here for the building that's going up, the construction workers. So I was just wondering about that.
You mean the street parking on the island is less available to you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not sure if, Brian, you wouldn't be prepared for that. Anything you want to say on that?
Yeah, just this is something that comes up a lot at our monthly PSD meetings. So I encourage everybody to stop by if you can to those sorts of things. We've talked about parking enforcement. I know that the chief has done more, certainly in the last few months, to beef up enforcement. I know that they give out a lot of summonses related to some of the parking issues. I just want to also point out that we are working on a larger street redesign project that's going to encapsulate some of the signage that's on the island, which I know can be sometimes difficult to navigate as well, which then in turn leads to some parking issues. But if you have more specific parking concerns, I would encourage you to just, if you'd like, to schedule an appointment with the Constituent Services Department to relay those, and then we triage them through with PSD in a lot of instances. And so we're always happy to have that feedback.
Anything else you want to come back with, Steve?
Yes, so advice is to attend the meetings. Those happen when?
Yeah, so the next one is, it's every month. The next one is November 17th. But in the meantime, if you have some more specific things that you want to relay to us, by all means, the Constituent Service Department, I realize now you might have missed this portion of it. It's you can schedule a meeting Monday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in half-hour increments online by visiting reoc.ny.gov, going to the community tab, and then under the Constituent Service Department. You can also email us at info@reoc.ny.gov. And then you can also drop in for constituent service hours at the Senior Center every Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You don't need an appointment for that. You can just come in and speak with a representative from there. So those are the main ways to get in touch with us and to provide the feedback on operational matters related to the island. And certainly, I think what we're talking about here falls under that umbrella.
Okay,
Thanks for the
Right.
question, Steve.
thank you. Thank
Let's
you.
go to Jane, please. You sound like you're muted still, Jane. You're still muted.
Jane?
Unmuted?
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Okay. So is it possible for both cars of the tram to run all of the time?
Yeah, I mean, we looked into this during the early portions of the track work. The answer is no. Unfortunately, there is maintenance work that has to be done daily in order to maintain operations with tram, not just in terms of cleaning the cabin, but related to the cables, related to the sheets. What we try to do is we've expanded the tram rush hours for the weekends, which we have seen has been a particularly heavy time. So we are running them concurrently more often than we had been on the weekends. During the weekdays, we have our down periods in the middle of the day, but what we try to do is if the maintenance work gets done early, we try to put the cars back into double service faster than is advertised. So in many instances, even during rush hour, you'll see both during non-rush hour hours, you'll see both cars in operation if the maintenance work gets done as soon as possible. But ultimately, the most important thing, obviously, is passenger safety, tram safety, and we have to do everything we can to make sure that the maintenance work is being completed. And
I had a second point. I think this has been brought up, but isn't there any way where residents of Roosevelt Island could get priority in the sometimes really long lines that emerge?
we have looked into that as well. Unfortunately, our legal department has basically determined that it just wouldn't be feasible. It wouldn't be a legal thing for us to do. The tram is a I forget the exact term for it. It's like a public. It's basically just a public transportation hub, and if you were to give priority to any one class of people, there's a good chance that you're going to be running into some larger legal hurdles later on. So you can actually read the full statement about it on our website. If you go to the homepage, it's up there on, it's right at the top, right next to, I think, our Halloween announcement that goes into it in greater detail than I can at the moment.
Shane, thank you for the questions. Before I come to you, Valerie, I just want to make sure we talk to other people who are members of the public. Matt, please, Matt next.
Hi, Matt Waldman. As you may be aware, last, I think, Wednesday, the F shuttle was suspended completely for about 2 hours during the peak of the afternoon rush hour. I was actually commuting at that time to get back to Roosevelt Island, and I was stranded in the Lexington station. I was wondering if REOC was going to share an advisory that the F shuttle was suspended, even though there was no timetable when it would be restored. And I did call PSD that day, and they said that they were I think maybe getting ready to send out an advisory. But it seems like there wasn't one sent out, and I wanted to see if that's something REOC can do to help kind of support to get the word out so people know, like, as they're in transit, like alternative ways to get home. Because at that time we just had the Q102 that was like running every 30 minutes from Queens, and the tram. Those were the only two options on basically getting on and off the island for the rush hour. Second was I wanted to see if there's like ridership numbers for the Queens Plaza shuttle bus and like how that's going.
The ridership numbers I don't have off the top of my head. I'm not sure exactly where that stands, so I can't give you an answer on that one. In terms of the advisory, yeah, we can do a better job, I think, in the future of getting out ahead of certain things and communicating with the MTA when these sort of issues arise. So, we've taken that one to heart, and we'll try to come up with a better way to, or really just a faster way to get some of the information out when we can. That past instance was just I think it came out of nowhere a little bit, and it did catch us a little off guard. So we'll do a better job with that, I think, in the future.
I presume, Brian, that maybe some people at RIOC could be signed up for the MTA alerts for the F train. That's a quick way of getting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly an option, and we put that out in a lot of our early communications. If you do sign up for the MTA alerts, it's probably going to be helpful as well. There are some times when the MTA is obviously going to be able to get information out about their operations sooner than we are, with greater detail than we will.
Right. So people can sign up as well. But if someone at RIOC can also sees that, then you can also send out your alert as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Brilliant. I see no more hands up from members of the public. Let's go to Valerie, please.
Confirm a meeting.
Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate it. I don't know if anybody's asked this question, but I took the tram over to the island last night, and it was extremely, extremely unsafe conditions on the platform waiting for the tram. There seemed to be no supervision of the crowd or any crowd control, and it was very dangerously crowded. There were people with strollers and just packed to the gills all the way through the turnstiles and onto the stairs. And just, God forbid, there was a situation where had to be evacuated. Again, it just seems like there needs to be some oversight of what's happening on that platform. Especially at rush hour.
So before I pass it on to Brian, I will remind those on this call who know this is exactly what we've been asking for since day one, and it's been done to some degree some of the time. So sometimes it's done really well, but in my personal opinion, it's done relatively rarely. And we have two places. One is outside the turnstiles, one's inside the turnstiles getting on. And there seems to be sort of a demarcation between who does what, where, when. And all we want as people who live here or transit here is that it gets done. We want much safer handling for people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, as someone who doesn't go to the island very often, I was really excited to be taking the tram over. And it was really great to have our meeting there last night. But people were really squished, and once you got up there, there was not even room to turn around, and we were there for quite a long time.
I should just let you know, Valerie, that's been the life of people living on the island for the last.
Yes, I can't believe that that would be allowed to continue, and it's really upsetting to hear, Paul, that that's a usual state of affairs.
Valerie, approximately what time was your travel?
It was exactly at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
6 p.m.
I'll be happy to relay the feedback to PSD. Like
well,
Paul noted,
it sounds to me like I'm not the first person to say it, and it just sounds like the residents of Roosevelt Island should be treated a lot better.
But Brian, I think the last we all heard was the Chief Brown said that the PSD will not handle anything inside the turnstiles, although I've seen them done it once or twice, and they'll leave that to the people who run the tram. And we've been asking for them to change their mind about doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll note what Chief Brown also said in other meetings is, if there was ever an issue where on the platform and you needed to talk with an officer that wasn't out there on the time, you certainly can, and they'll respond.
I can just say there Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if there was an officer there would be no way to find him or to get to him to report that anything was wrong because it was so congested with people. And if a resolution from the community board would help, I'm sure we would be happy to do that.
We already have it in a resolution.
Yep. Well, obviously, maybe we need another one, Paul.
Brian, we've heard the message from people. I think you know this one already. So
Yes, I
Thank
have it.
you.
I will relay it again to PSD and as well as POMA.
Thanks
you.
very much.
Thank you, Valerie. Let's go to Sharon, please.
Thank you, Paul. First, I wanted to follow up with Brian and say that the Fall for Arts and the holiday decorations that are on that particular lawn, they're just absolutely phenomenal. But just talking about the Fall for Arts, every single year, the artwork has been absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. And it's such a pleasure to walk by that park and see the artwork overall. And also, I am really so happy that you move it to the parking garage because it really does need help. And the Roosevelt Island Visual Artists Association, as well as RIAC, just does a phenomenal job with Fall for Arts. And I really want to thank you and RIAC and Riva for all of the work that goes into putting on something like that. I also wanted to follow up Steve Burke, who had talked about how he might get more involved. It would be wonderful as a Roosevelt Island resident that you attend the Roosevelt Island Committee of Community Board Aids. And if there are other Roosevelt Island residents on the call, I invite you to sign up with Community Board Aid and specifically attend the Roosevelt Island Committee meetings. We have them monthly more often than not, and it would be absolutely wonderful. And it's headed up by Paul Kirkler, obviously a Roosevelt Island resident. And so we really have a tendency to do a deeper dive, I think, because the committee is headed up by Roosevelt Island residents. So I really encourage other Roosevelt Island residents to join the Roosevelt Island Committee. And that's it. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Sharon. I'll add one word to that very quickly, just to add my perspective. We didn't have any meetings for a few months because, frankly, I didn't quite know what we should be doing. And then all of a sudden, the F train arrived on us, the whole rehab thing. And it was very clear what we should do about this committee. So we had a big meeting a month ago in person, where we had the MTA, we had RIOC, we had other people there, elected officials, representatives. I wanted to have a meeting today to see how much interest there would be from people coming along. Clearly, we can use this as a forum. Brian kindly will come along each month to update us on things that RIOC is doing or things we can do with RIOC, not just about the transit. Obviously, this can be a forum for transit as well. But what I would like it to be, beyond those two things, is a forum for people like yourself, Steve, or anybody else who wants to come along here to bring ideas of things that you or they would like to see happen here on Roosevelt Island. We'll have obviously limitations of how we get things done, depending on who we can get to help us at RIOC, but Brian is here to help us with that. So I'd like this to be a forum for that, but it's got to be organic. People have to come forward with ideas. So I'm going to sort of lay that out there and leave it as it is.
And if can
please.
the chat, information about the Roosevelt Island Committee and Community Board 8, maybe a link, because I know that a link was included in the chat. Oh,
It's been done. Wonderful, Seda. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Why don't we go to Judy next, please?
Hi, good
Hey,
evening.
Judy.
I'm sorry I joined you late. I don't know. This is more fun than watching the world news tonight. Don't ask. Seriously, I'm as frustrated with the tram and the behavior of a few of the tram staff hiding out in the booth and not doing their job. I know it's exhausting. I know that it's infuriating that a lot of the tourists just, they were standing on the wrong side of the cabin to get in yesterday. They were trying to get in the exit, and it's very, very upsetting, but we have to have more tram staff. We have to have more people there. We cannot depend on the one poor person that's assigned to sit there for 3 or 4 hours straight. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I don't care if it's Riak or Poma. We need public safety on the platform at the turnstile and just putting a bar across the turnstile when it's full, and that's it. No baloney. I mean, you can't be nice, unfortunately. And I pulled a neighbor out from the line yesterday. I said, come on. She had her little Trader Joe's bag. I said, come on, you're a senior. And sure enough, we just pushed our way through and got on the tram because I'm not polite. And but it is infuriating. Brian, you have to talk to the tram staff. They're burnt out. They're worn out. Poma doesn't give them enough support. Armando doesn't get enough support. You people have completely silenced the tram staff. They're not even allowed to talk to anyone anymore. So how do you think they feel? Riak is God. We're the people people's lives are in our hands, the tram staff, the tram management, and they're not even allowed to talk to anyone because only Shelton and his appointees can talk to people. That is not good relations. That builds animosity, it builds annoyance, it builds frustration, and this is what's coming from it. The tram riders are just frustrated. We're all frustrated, but your administration should let the tram staff run the tram and talk to people. I mean, they told me today we can't even put up more signs in the tram to let seniors and disabled take the seats. That's Riak's job. No, it's not. It's the tram's job. You have to give the tram back to the tram operators. They know how to run it. Riak does not know how to run it. And I am sorry, my phone's ringing. It is so frustrating to look at them and see the tram staff being handcuffed, being shackled by Riak. And no one at Blackwell House gives a shit. They don't ride the tram. They don't care. I see them walking in, walking out, not even talking to us lowly peasants who live here. So enough is enough. Give the tram back to Poma. Give the management back to Armando. Let him speak. Let the tram staff say what they need. The tram staff, people like Greg and David have worked there over 45 years. They know what the tram passengers are like. They know how the tram operates. Your people at Riak who've been here a year or two do not know a damn thing about running a tram. You should get off it, get away, and let the tram management company run the tram. Make sure that Riak pays for extra overtime for staff, gets people there who want to run the tram, who want the community to be happy, and will find a way to manage the tourists diplomatically. Because I will stand there and pull my neighbors out to get on the next cabin. It is infuriating to see that you guys have completely handcuffed the tram company, Poma. And Poma's been here since 2010, and they're a damn good company. They run a damn good tram, and you people have just boondoggled the whole operation. Would you please? And we need more public safety at the Manhattan station. Oh, they're only there on the weekends? I hate to tell you, we have lots of people during the week. For this lady who was speaking when I came on, Valerie, the tram has always been crowded at rush hour. The tram from day one has been overcrowded between 5 and 7 p.m. It's always been that way. So this is not new. The tram has always been crowded. in the evenings and the morning rush hour. That's just how it is. So that it's just worse now, but trust me, it's never been great at rush hour.
But it is, to be fair, Judy, it's significantly worse now because you have now sometimes people have to wait for 2 or 3 trams.
And also, my friend's kid goes to Bronx Science at 6 o'clock, 7 in the morning, comes home at 5:30 at night, and she's a little pipsqueak, 5'2", and she has to wait three trams to get home. She's a school kid. She's under 18 years old. She should be able to walk up there and get on the tram because she is a kid, and the kids do not deserve to stand in line because they're over 5th grade, but they're little kids. High school kids. They should not be made to stand in line. I'm sorry. I'm getting really bitchy in my own.
It's all right, Judy. Your point's well made, but thank you. Let's give Brian a chance to answer if he will say something if he wants to.
Yeah, well, first, Judy, I think we talk pretty regularly. I think I'm giving you anytime you can. Listen, I hear the feedback. Of course, I will take it back. Some of the things you mentioned here I'm a little unfamiliar with. So if we can chat about that, that would be helpful.
Thank you for your question, Judy. Does anybody else have a question here? I think we're on the road to having the record-breaking shortest ever community board meeting. I think. I don't know. I've been into. Oh, Kate. Hello. Sorry, Kate.
And Paul, before you move on, I just want to remind board members and public members are supposed to abide by our decorum clause, which includes treating people with civility and not swearing.
Thank you, Will. Kate, please.
Hello. I will abide by decorum. Roosevelt Island resident here. I know this has been discussed to some extent in the WhatsApp chat, but I was wondering what can be done to kind of de-emphasize the tram as a tourist destination. I know I personally, on my way back from the school where I teach, was pretty regularly pushed by tourists trying to get the best view, whereas my goal is just to get to my home. And I don't know if there's something that can be put over the windows to make it a less attractive picture or video. It would probably go a long way to reducing some of the Instagram videos that are going viral about how great the tram is to take when some of us just want to get home. Thank you.
Before I pass it on to Brian, I think it should start getting a bit less crowded soon from tourists because as it gets colder, I know there'll be exceptions to that during the winter period as well. But we can hope that the weather will help us to some degree. But I've also seen comments before about can we cover up the windows, can we not? And some people like the idea, like you mentioned, and some people think it's a terrible idea on the same WhatsApp group. So it's a mixed thing here. Bryant.
Yeah, I think that the suggestion, I've heard it before, and I think exactly what you said, Paul. It kind of depends on who you're talking to with it. I can just tell you from the REAC perspective on it. Sometimes there's this notion that we're doing what we can to make this into a tourist ride, and we're really not. If you check our Instagram accounts, our social media accounts, we're not really doing a whole lot to promote the tram, with the thought process being that why exacerbate some of these crowding issues that are happening during the ongoing track work. So that's kind of the input I have on that, but the rest of the feedback obviously I'll bring back.
Thank you, Bryant. Can we go back to Judy, please?
I'm sorry for my previous comment.
Judy's trying again with the decorum thing.
Easy. Okay, listen, there's nothing you can do about tourists. We are world famous. We are in every guidebook. We are all over the world on the internet. I run the visitor center. I make money, not very much, from the visitors. But we are all over the world. We have visitors from all over the world coming on the tram every single day. We are lucky that people are interested in us. We are lucky that people come to New York City and maybe not so many, support the tram, support the island, visit our sites, eat in our restaurants, buy some food, shop here. You cannot stop this. This is New York. people come in every single day, thrilled to be on Roosevelt Island, telling me how wonderful the island is, how beautiful, how clean it is, how friendly the natives are. And I mean, you just cannot plaster over the windows and make this into another subway car. We're going to have to get through this. Brian has marching orders now. And I mean, we're going to get through it, Brian. Let's just pray for lots of rain. That's all I can say.
Well, I mean, we've been having that in spades. So.
Yeah.
That's
Yes. Another one coming this weekend as well. Thank you, Judy. Let's go to Sharon, please.
First of all, Judy, when you're ready to take the tram, let me go, because I want to be standing next to you, one of those neighbors, and you'll push us both to the front. I appreciate that. What I want to say regarding the tourist, working my way backwards, honestly, I want every one of them to come and leave all their money in New York City, because we need every single tourist coming to New York City. I love it when they are on the Roosevelt Island tram. It makes Paul's effort to get the, what is that called again? The tap or the swipe? Omni, yeah. It makes Paul's efforts to get Omni installed, just worthwhile. The city absolutely needs the money. And following up on Valerie's initial comments, because she started this conversation about overcrowding, and she's absolutely right, and so is Judy. I have made a recommendation in the past, which is to politely ask, have the tram operator ask, if you are a tourist, if it's possible for you to wait for the next tram to facilitate residents boarding. That would be very helpful. I think that type of announcement is not overly aggressive. I believe tourists do have a bit more time on their hands, and they're not. They might have the ability to wait for a tram or another tram. So if you would not mind, Brian, I would ask if it's possible for you to bring back my suggestion, which I have raised in the past, that there be some type of an announcement, a very courteous, nice, welcoming announcement to all the tourists. We're so happy that you're here, but if you don't mind waiting so that residents can board, we would really appreciate that. And I bet you'll get a positive response.
So before Bryant jumps in there, I will just say, Real's made its view already clear on this. They won't be doing that. That's tantamount to exactly what we've been asking for, which is have resident priority. To have a tram person announce that would go in the face of what RIA has agreed to do. I wish they would, but they won't.
Yeah, I'm happy to report it back. I'm happy to report back all this stuff. I suspect it falls under the same umbrella as the tram priority line overall in terms of the legality of it and that sort of thing. I think you're running into some choppy waters on that end. But of course, I'll bring back all the suggestions I hear.
Thank you, Sharon, for your comments. Anybody else have any comments before we wrap up the meeting? So if we do have meetings in the future, again, I want to try and make these, not rapid meetings, but I don't want to make these 5-hour meetings either. So I'm happy it's been a 45-minute meeting. I'm very happy a whole bunch of people decided to come and join us here. So I'll let you know when we have, or if you're on the mailing list, you'll find out when the next monthly meeting will be. We're going to change the date of it soon in the month. But I wish you all a very good weekend and thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Paul.